We are here in the Judean desert, just outside Jerusalem, and it's highly likely that David spent his childhood years growing up looking after sheep in this area. He uses the covenant name for God, Yahweh, when he confronts Goliath, knowing he is confident he can take out Goliath, this massive enemy of the Philistine, a massive giant, even though he's only a teenager, because Yahweh has helped him in his childhood growing up against the lions and the bears. Why here then for the worship of David? Surely we should be in Jerusalem. That's where he wanted to set up a temple. That's where his son Solomon takes 7 years and builds the temple. We're in the golden age of Israel. So why based in the desert? Because if we're recovering a humanity in fundamental trust and intimacy with God, this is where it happened for David. It happened in those years as a shepherd boy, looking after sheep and protecting them and knowing Yahweh's protection from the lions and the bears. And it happened for 13 years under the persecution of Saul, from David's age of about 17 when he took Goliath to about 30 when he becomes king. It was in adversity that faith in Yahweh was recovered. It was in this context of a barren, tough landscape, so that when David becomes king, he has the character to hold that reign again, to be someone who can carry a restored humanity in the context of Jerusalem, in the context of being king, of being celebrated and adored. Now David, quite extraordinarily, the chronicler writes, appoints 4,000 Levites to worship God, Yahweh, day and night. And what absolutely exploded out of this era and really continued throughout the biblical history, the Old Testament biblical history, and continues to reverberate around the world, is the most incredible song, worship, poem, psalm, hymn book we know as the Psalms. These psalms are about faith, and they, whilst so diverse in the people who wrote them and in the times they were written, they are joined together with that one unifying theme, a movement from very challenging adversarial circumstances through faith into breakthrough. And that's really why we're here, because it was that journey that David went on, the adversarial circumstances of his childhood, the adversarial circumstances of encountering Goliath, but the faith in the God of Yahweh who can change circumstances and restore the very contexts which bring such pain and devastation into their original design through this extraordinary gift called faith. And we finally hear that voiced in Psalm 22, perhaps one of the most poignant psalms, where there is the speaker is going through in a time of extreme persecution, abandonment, rejection, desolation, but comes through to a place of breakthrough, and simply because they choose to trust in the goodness of God. Unlike humanity, Adam and Eve could not trust in the goodness of God. They believed the lie of the serpent in Eden. The voice of Psalm 22, the voice of David, trusts in the goodness of God in the midst of adversarial circumstances. And so perhaps as followers of Jesus, for us, it is most poignant and inspiring that the very words Jesus spoke on the cross in the Aramaic, which is close to that old Hebrew form, Psalm 22, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, my God, why have you forsaken me? And he himself in his humanity goes through and journeys with us, experiencing that pain, that desolation, that loss, but coming through as a human. He restores Eden because he says, I trust you in this moment. You will come through for me. And when he says that psalm, he's saying all of that. He's saying, I am desolate, but I trust there is a good God who is able to overcome my desolation. And he comes through to a place of breakthrough. And of course, we know that after his death, there was a silence, and then there was a resurrection. And so we are here. It's highly likely this is the valley of the shadow of death that David speaks about in Psalm 23, and the movement he goes to from a place of death to confidence in God's goodness in the midst of that valley, to resurrection. I am given a banquet in the place of my enemies. My cup overflows. Goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will be with Yahweh. I will recover intimacy with him forever.